Hello everyone and welcome to another video on learning APL with neural networks. And in this video what we are going to do is write the code that we need in order to test our network. So we already started writing this thread from that will train a network on the MNIST dataset and test it. And it's actually quote unquote easier to start with the testing part because we can run it from the beginning and see if it's working or not. And then, after the testing is done and it works, we can train our network. Okay, so what do we need to do? Well, in order to test the network, we need to go over all of the testing data. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. We need to feed all of the data to the network. We need to see what the network returns. We need to compare it with the actual target. And then in the end, we need to we need to score the network. So we need to see how many attempts the network made or how many rows were there of data and how many the network got right. So how do we do that? Well, let's do the following. Oh, it's already in there. And the inputs as well. Yeah, cool. So what we're going to do is we are going to write a while loop, and this while loop will take care of reading the data in chunks. Okay? Now, what we do is we only need to keep testing if there's any amount of rows in our data. Okay? And the data, let's localize it here. So the data is the chunk that we are reading. We can actually call it chunk. That makes sense. So it was already in there. Yeah. So we read the chunk, and if the chunk has any amount of rows, then we process the chunk. But what's the chunk? Well, the chunk comes precisely from, well, reading the chunk from that tithe file. Yeah, from the test file. So this reads a chunk of data. And only if there's any data to process, we go into the loop. Now, if there's data to process, the first thing we need to do is to split the data into the targets and the actual inputs. And we do that with the split chunk function. Okay? And now, what can we do? We can take the inputs, we can feed them into the network, and then we can compare the outputs with the targets. So how do we do that? Well, I want to say simple. Maybe it's not obvious, but as soon as you see it, you'll understand what's going on. So we have these outs over here, and these are the outputs that we are going to be saving. And this is just will be a vector of zeros and ones, with zeros for the cases that the network failed and with ones where the network got it right. And so what we need to do is we need to extend the outputs to also contain whatever the network will do with these inputs and these targets. So what we need to do is we need to compare the targets with the output from the network. Now, what we need to do is we want to apply the feed forward operator to each of the rows of chunk. To each of the rows of imps, to each of the rows of the inputs here. Now the rows in this matrix are arrays of rank 1, so we are going to use a little diffn and use the rank operator to apply it to each of the rows of the inputs. And in here we are going to do the feed forward. So this input is a row of data. Now the problem is we don't want rows, we actually want columns. So we use this primitive to make it a column, and I'm not 100% sure, I already talked about this, so let me just show you. Okay, so if you give it a vector, this returns a column. And why don't I know these names? Of course, it's called table. Yeah, sorry about that. So table takes a vector, or when it takes a vector, it returns a column. Okay, so first we table that. Now we need to apply our feed forward. So let's see our forward pass, sorry. So let's see what it looks like. So the forward pass is going to take the activation function as the left operand. So let's type it in here, the forward pass. Okay, so in here we give it the leaky relu, because that's the left operand. Now on the left goes the network, and the network is called net. So the network is the left argument, and the right argument is the network input, which is that column. Now the forward pass supplies the whole thing, and in the end we get the output is a column vector with length 10, and we've seen in a previous video how to interpret that, and that's just picking the first of the grade down. Okay, because what's going to happen is we get some output. Let's pretend that the output is this. So deal 10 1 row 0. So if this is the output, we see here that the largest number is this one, and so in this make-believe scenario the network thinks that it just looked at a 9 8 7, and so the output of the network should be 7, and that's the peak of the grade down. Okay, and so we do this for each row of the input, and then we compare that with the targets, and that's essentially it. And for the sake of seeing that things are happening, let's add a small print here so that we see things are happening. So we fix the code, and now we just call the mnist function. So it's doing stuff, and then it, oh right, I'm being silly, yeah. So and then it returned the network in the end. The problem is we don't want just to return the network, we want to take a look at outs and print the accuracy of the network. And so what we need to do is, because this is a vector of zeros and ones, the accuracy of the network is also the average of the values in here. And so what we can do is we can print what? We can print the sum of the outs divided by the number of numbers. And so as we fix the code, we can rerun this, and so that's the accuracy of the network without training, right? And is this what you expected? Actually, so something that is upsetting me is the fact that the network gets displayed in the screen every time. And if we wrap this in curly braces here, what we are saying is that the thread fund now returns a shy result. And what does that mean? It means that the result is still returned, and so you can access it, but it's not displayed by default. So you can see that I no longer get these things printed in here. Now running a bunch of these experiments shows that the accuracy is fluctuating around 10% roughly. And by the way, you can get the result if you want to, so the network is there. Yeah, so these experiments show the accuracy fluctuating around 10%, and that's expected because is it me or the colors in here all changed? Could it be that this is changing the way syntax highlighting works? Maybe I'm going crazy, but I was sure that most of these names were white, just a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so something happened. I don't know what happened, but something happened. Yeah, sorry. So to wrap up, as I was saying, this accuracy in the beginning makes sense because the network is not trained, and so it's kind of like if the network were guessing at random. And if you have 10 different digits, and if things are balanced, as in there's as many of each digit, then random guessing would net you about 10% accuracy. So this makes some sense, or this is not weird, in other words. And in the next video, what we are going to do is implement the code that trains the network, and we will see this accuracy improve by a lot. And then our work will be done. So see you in the next video. Bye.